it's Kelly from Loch Briar Knits. This is my podcast on knitting, hand dyeing, and general craftiness, maybe a little sewing later on, but mostly about knitting and hand dyeing of yarns. To all my returning viewers, thank you so much for coming back and subscribing. To my new viewers, welcome, and I hope you come back and join us again. So this is actually my second time recording this video. I had it completely done on Wednesday and I was uploading it yesterday, and I don't know what happened, but every time I tried to upload it, it would get near the end and it would give me an error, and finally I just gave up trying to figure out what the problem was and said take two, which is sort of what happened last episode, only for different reasons. That was sort of user error. I don't know what the issue was with the file. I think I may have had a corrupt file or something in there. So anyway, back again. This is episode 4. So we're trucking along. I'm going to jump right into acquisitions because I think that's actually going to be the shortest part of the show this time. Okay, so first off, when I first started watching knitting podcasts, the first one that I was watching regularly was Molly from a Homespun house. And I have been wanting to get some of her yarns desperately, finally snagged one. And not only did I get my first yarn from Molly from Homespun House, but it's my very first sock blank. I've never used a sock blank before, so I'm kind of excited to do this. So this is Molly. It's called The Ants Go Marching In, and I'm going to try to get that up to the... That's her. There we go. So this is her sock blank for Ants Go Marching In, and you can see it's got lots of like nice blues, and it looks like there's some sort of yellows and browns in there. And it's also, I don't know if it's showing up on here, but it's got a nice sparkle to it, so it must be on stillena. But I'm really excited to use this. I don't know what I'm going to knit with it yet, but I'm definitely going to, it's going to have to be something special because I've been waiting for a Homespun House yarn. So that's, it's nice and soft too. And I'm assuming, because I've never used these before, but I think you just kind of grab this and you start to unravel, just like a ball of yarn. So that is acquisition number 1. Now, these are not stuff, I actually haven't spent any money on new stuff since the last podcast. This is all stuff that I had ordered previously, so I feel a little vindicated in that sense, but we'll see. Anyway, the other, I ordered some more bear yarn, just to dye some stuff up, and they had single skeins that you could try as sample skeins, see if you liked it, blah blah blah. So I ordered 2, and this is the first one. It's a stillena sock weight yarn, and you can kind of, I think you can see the sparkles in the thing. So that's just the bear yarn sock base. It's yeah, merino stillena. So 95% superwash merino and then 5% stillena. So yeah, I'm not sure what I'm going to do with this yet. I actually really like it, so I think I'll definitely be getting some more of that to dye. But yeah, I'm going to do the tester first and see how that goes. And the other tester that I got, and I cannot, honestly, I can't rave about this enough. It's yak yarn, which I would have never even thought of, but I saw it there, and I remember, I think it was Sam from Hand Me My Knitting who had mentioned that she was knitting, she had knit with yak yarn. I could be wrong, but I think that's who it was. And so when I saw this, I thought, you know, I'm going to try it. So this is, let me get that up there. Focus. So yeah, so this is the, I cannot even tell you how soft this is. There are no words. And I'm a writer, so words are kind of my jam. I've got nothing for this. It is so soft. It's just like crazy soft. But the other thing too is the color is beautiful that I almost don't want to dye over it. And this is a lace weight too. It's a beautiful lace weight. So I am going to dye over it because I do want to see how they dye up with that color of a base. And it's showing more gray here, but it's actually, it's got brownish gray undertones. But it's just so incredibly soft. So I didn't even wait to dye this up. I ordered some more, but I ordered it in the sock weight, although I may end up getting some more of the lace weight as well. But I opened up the package. This was the first thing I pulled out, and I was just like, oh my God, it is just amazing. Like, it is so soft. Like, yeah, honestly, I may knit with nothing but yak yarn. Was this bad boy? So this is from, she's a Canadian crafter. She's from Ontario, and it's My Needle Crafts. So I think I can get that. So that's the tag. So this is her sweater size, and it's got this like lovely pinstriping down here, and then it's got all these like Paris and London. Flip it over here so you can see. There's the Eiffel Tower. So I just love it. I'm a big Paris fan, and the books I write are set in London, so I was just all over it. And kind of the red inside matches the red outside, so I really, really like it. And it's super roomy. I don't know if you can tell from here, but it is. And then, you know, so that's easily going to fit the sweaters I'm going to be doing. She put in a little stitch marker there to go with it. But I had also ordered 2 progress keepers from her. And I'm going to have to block the light a little, I think. So this is the first one. There we go, a little sheep. So I thought he was very cute. So that's the first one. And the second one, I love this one. The second one is a little bird on a branch with his 2 little leaves. So I love that. So I'm going to switch out my regular kind of boring stitch markers or progress keepers with those. And that, other than some bare yarn, which is just bare, so nothing to show you there. That's it. That's it for acquisitions. And all of this stuff was purchased before the last episode. So it was all stuff that had come in. So technically I behaved myself for the last 2 weeks. And, oh no, I didn't. Sorry. I bought another Swift just so that when I'm rescanning, because right now I was putting the hand-dyed yarn on the Swift, and then I was ball winding it and then putting it back on the Swift to reskein it, which was, it was okay. It was working, but it was sort of an extra step. So I thought, you know what, I'm just going to break down. I'm going to buy the extra Swift, so I've got two. So that's it. That's it for acquisitions. So here's the big news. I am ready now to start populating my shop with hand-dyed yarns. I've had an Etsy shop for, oh God, years now. Okay. So I've had some hand knit stuff in there, and a few years ago when, you know, the writing really started taking off and the deadlines started, you know, coming fast and furious, I didn't really have time to spend knitting and really paying much attention to the shop. So it's really been kind of languishing. And when I got into hand dyeing a few months ago, 2 months ago now maybe, I thought, okay, I'm going to start, you know, doing this. And I still will probably knit up some things and have them in the shop as well. But right now I'm going to concentrate on doing the yarns. So I'm sorry, the dog has just wandered in. Hey, buddy. Come here. Come here. So can you get out of there? Uh-oh. Okay. No, you really need to get out of there. Come here. Out. Sorry. Anyway. Back to oh. Hand dyeing. There's colorways I'm very comfortable with now that I can recreate them. So there's some new ones that I tried out over the last couple of weeks. This is one of my favorites. This is Sunburst. So I really like this one, and it's actually a little more vibrant than what the this camera sometimes washes things out a little bit. Get your face out of there, buddy. So that's Sunburst. So that's gonna be in the first round for the shop. And this is a new one. This one is Maggie's Garden. My niece really loved the colors in this one and said this one was her favorite, so we named it after her. So that's Maggie's Garden, and that's probably going to be in the first round. Once I have everything ready to go, I'll do a post up on Instagram, but I'll also, you know, come back here in the next episode, because I think it's going to take me a few weeks to get enough of it done to really justify putting up a shop update, I guess. So this, I had some help naming this one. I was having a little trouble. My friend Linda suggested Raspberry Twist, and my other friend Heidi suggested Raspberry Tart. So it seems that raspberry is the reoccurring theme. So this is going to be Raspberry Tart. And this one right here is on a DK light worsted base. So I don't know. I may do it on a sock base, or I may do a couple of these on the DK base, because I have a fair amount of DK yarn, bare yarn. So that's Raspberry Tart. I think this one will be in the first round. This one's my new favorite. This is a mix of blacks and red, kind of speckling and stripes. This and white, lots of white. This one is called Blackguard's Heart. So that's Blackguard's Heart. As you want. This one is going to be up in the shop. And I don't have a name for this. I'm literally calling this the skein to be named later. But it's got purples and blues and yellows, and there's a little green in there. When I did this one, I thought I'd like to get a little more of the colors in it. So it'll probably have a little bit more of the striping and speckling than this one here. Chocolate Cures the Blues, I think will be in the first round because I'd like to get some blues in there. And Shadows and Mist, I think, will also be in the first round. So I'm still kind of deciding which ones I can get up and done. And I'd like to do the shop update. What's this? This is, I'd like to get it done before the end of May. So I've got some of these going right now upstairs, and I'm trying not to crinkle, but this is probably, I can only do a certain amount at a time because all I have is the small kitchen, which if you've seen the vlogs, it's not that big. I don't have a lot of space, so I can only do kind of small batches at a time. So I'm trying to build a little bit of an inventory as I go. And but it may be that when I put them up in the shop, I'll have like 2 of this item or 3. But I'm gonna try to keep the inventory going. So this is definitely, I'm going to have 2 of these in the shop, and this is going to be Granny Smith, and it's on an 80-20 sock base. And this is Oh My Heart, and again, that's 80-20 sock base, so that's got some reds and pinks in it. And this one isn't going to be in the shop yet. It was just one. We had crappy weather last week, which is typical for Nova Scotia in spring. So I did a Nova Scotia in spring, which has very little sunshine, lots of gray, a tiny bit of blue. So, but I really actually like how it turned out. It came out kind of like a nice, mild, tempered color. So I think I'm going to be doing up some more of those, and we'll just call that Nova Scotia Spring. But I don't know if I'll get time to do those ones. So these 2 are definitely going up, and then upstairs I have another semi-solid, which I'll have 2 of. We'll have more of the skein to be named later, and we'll have more of the Sunburst. And I'm hoping through the week, oops, sorry, defocusing myself. I'm hoping through the week that I can get a little more done, but I'm not sure because my father-in-law is coming for a visit for a week. And well, he arrives Thursday. I may be able to get some done. Big news with the WIPs. I have actually finished, not 1, but 2. I have finished the stripey socks from hell. I have insulated them clearly with dog hair. I was wearing them around the house. These were, well, if you've seen the previous episodes, you know. So this is, which one's this? The first is, this is the first one. So, okay, quick recap. There was the drop stitch that I had to knit up. There was the I don't know how to do a Kitchener stitch toe. And there was the gap kind of here on both sides where I picked up stitches. you're thinking about getting a golden retriever, I highly do recommend it. Wonderful breed. Sheds like crazy. Just FYI. Then the second sock. So I had heel issues, and as you can see from here, I don't know what I did. I just, honestly, I have no idea. So that was the heel issue. Then, what was the other? Oh, hang on. Let me show you something. Can you see that? One's longer than the other. Because I started to decrease too soon. So even you can see the socks. Yeah. So I went longer on this one, the first one. And then I started decreasing on the red stripe, and I actually should have knitted to the dark blue stripe, I think, and then started decreasing, which I should have made note on when I did the first one, but I didn't. On the plus side, they're just for me, so it doesn't really matter. And they're so loose because I didn't do a gauge swatch. I just went with what they said to use. So they are kind of, now they fit. They're loose, but they fit me. So I'm not too, it's not a big deal. But on the plus side, I did learn how to do the Kitchener stitch on this toe. So it's way neater. So I say so a lot. If you're a new viewer, FYI. If you're a returning viewer, you've probably already noticed that. Yeah, so. Yeah. Anyway, these socks, I have actually maybe 3 pairs of socks in my life. This is maybe sock pair number 3 or 4. I can't remember. I did one for my sister. I think I did one other pair. But this is the first pair in probably 10 years that I've knit. So it was, in a sense, it was frustrating because I kept making mistakes. I dropped stitches. I screwed up the heel. I messed up the toe. They're kind of too loose. But I learned the Kitchener stitch. On the second pair of socks, there's no gap. So, so that was an improvement. I know if I ever use the Patons Kroy yarn again, definitely go down a needle size or 2. But yeah, so they're done. So one finished object. So now the finished object number 2, oops, I'm out of focus, there we go, is much better. It was the lace hat for the spring hat cal that Taylor at Wool Needles Hands was doing. And I love this hat. Let's see if I can focus it. There we go. The yarn is, sorry, you can tell I've been wearing this little. The yarn is a little darker than what it shows up here, but I love the lace pattern, and I did have some issues on the first little section of lace, but when I look at it, I can't find a mistake. When I'm looking at it, I'm like, oh, that's where I screwed up. So it all seemed to work out in the end. And it fits. I can get it on here without screwing up. The best thing is that it's nice and light, and it's got I feel, okay, this is stupid, but I feel like it's on backwards. It's a hat. I don't know. But it's nice and light, so it's not going to flatten my hair down. It's the right size so you can actually see that I still have hair, because when you have short hair and you're wearing a hat, sometimes it just looks like you're bald. So anyway, it's perfect. It's nice and lightweight, and I almost wish that, there we go. I wish that I'd actually finished it earlier so I could have worn it, because I hope we're kind of beyond the hat requirement for the year. I keep looking out the window because it's sunny today, and I keep waiting for it to change. And also, look, folds up really well. Put that in your pocket. This I knit with the Ella Rae, and I don't know what the colorway was because it was just a number, and I don't have the band handy. But I do have, oh, there it is. I do have more Ella Rae. I bought this, which is actually not showing up true to color on this camera. It almost looks more bluish here, but it's not. It's a very nice, vibrant, deep purple. Not dark, 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 but kind of a really beautiful purple color. But then I realized, even before I bought the blue and the purple, I had this Ella Rae all caked up. Because I went through a whole caking thing when I first got my Swift. I was like, I was going to cake everything. Then I realized maybe that wasn't a good idea because I might want to see it, how it looks in the skein. Anyway, that's it. And I love the colorways in this. So I don't know, I might actually, I really enjoyed that knitting the hat. The hat was Mahende by Svetlana Volkova. Yeah, I'll put it in the show notes. Also, I think I forgot to mention in the beginning where you can find me on social media. So rather than insert that here, I'll just put a little thing, which you've already seen at the beginning, and then I'll toss it in at the end, and I'll put it down in the show notes. So yeah, Ella Rae, this is the merino lace weight, and I really, really like it. I would definitely knit with this again, and I would definitely make that pattern again. That lace, I really enjoyed it. Like, I really enjoyed that knit. And it was a fast knit, which was really nice because the stripy socks felt like they were taking forever. So that's my two foes. I have no hose, which sounds weird. But, oh, right. I do have an almost hoe. This is the sock that I'm knitting for my sister. It's going to be a short sock, so at this point right now, I think I'm going to be ready to turn the heel. So this is the colors in it, and I love the way this is knitting up. And this is actually from the first ball of yarn that I ever hand dyed. So I had originally called it Bubblegum Sunday, which was a stupid name. So then I called it Spring Explosion because of all of the colors. It reminded me of spring. These are for my sister, and I'm super jealous because I love how these are knitting up. It sounds like bragging, but I can't help it. I really love this yarn, and this is the only skein I have. So I'm definitely going to be making up some more of that, and it'll probably show up in the shop maybe in a month or two. But my sister likes having kind of original stuff. And she and I have this bad habit of going to the store at different times and coming back with the exact same item of clothing. So I'll probably not make a pair for myself and just give these to my sister. So, but yeah, so this is the first sock. And it's shorter because it's not a full skein of yarn. I was doing like a tester because it was my first one. So I pulled out a 25-gram portion and just did up a little mini skein, which this one is I'll probably be redoing. It's called Through a Dark Wood, and it's got purples and blues and greens in it. But I like that one, so I'll probably be doing a new dye up of that. But yeah, so this is, it's almost half done. I'm ready to turn for the heel now because I've got to make them a little shorter. And so far, this pair of socks is going much better than the last pair of socks. So, and that's in my new project bag that I showed on episode 3 from Little Skein in the Big Wool. And this is their PEI. So you get a little Anna Green Gables or Prince Edward Island bag. It's got Anna Green Gables and it's got the nice fall leaves and everything. And then inside it's got all that funky do. So these bags are wonderful. Like I'm becoming a bit of a project bag nut. And the thing is I want to learn how to sew so I can make my own project bags, but when everybody else is coming out with such lovely bags, it almost seems silly to make my own. But anyway, so that's my almost faux. I should have, actually, I'm going to try to have the socks finished by the next episode. I don't know if I will or not. With my father-in-law visiting, I don't know how much time in the evening I'll get to knit, and that's about the only time I have. But we'll see. I'm going to at least try to have one sock done by the next episode, and there's a reason for that, but that's coming up later. So the other, this is not a hoe or a faux. This is my enchanted forest or enchanted wood. I can't remember. I meant to look that up and I forget. But you know, it's got all, this is my project bag, also from Little Skein in the Big Wool, and that's got like all of the little fairy tale characters on it. So this is where I keep my Simple Lines by Simone Alexander, which, for you returning viewers, you've been watching my very slow progress on this. Oops, wait. So I'm knitting these on my Chago? I never know if I'm saying that right. Chago. Anyways, these are my favorite knitting needles. I love them. Anyway, this is where I was at last episode. So I am making slow but steady progress in my Simple Lines shawl, and I am, oops, just pull that off. So I'm sorry, but every time I pull this out, really, is anybody else thinking it? Because I don't know. Anyway, I'm sorry. I'm almost done the first. I'm almost done the first ball of yarn. So there's 3 balls of yarn before, you know, total. So I'm almost at the end of this one, which means I'm almost a third of the way through. So that would make this, if I'm a third, a thou. This is my thou. I'm knitting this up with Juniper Moon, Harriet Fine, and the colorway is Baha'i Beach. Chiagu. I'm saying that right? Ah. If I'm not, feel free to inform me. Anyway, so that is everything I'm knitting on right now. Yeah, that's it. So that's everything. That's everything in the WIP section, which I feel like I made progress since last episode. I feel like I've made some progress. I had a lot more time to knit this last couple of weeks, so I'm really hoping I can keep that pace up. Although I suspect with my father-in-law visiting, I should probably spend some time with them. So yeah. So in the queue are only two things. I was going to cast on another pair of socks so I would have two in the go, but I decided not to because the two projects in the queue, one that's going to be starting up very soon, May 12th, is they're both kind of bigger projects, and I already have the simple lines, which is kind of a big project, and I have a pair of socks. Oh, I just thought of something. Okay. So I just decided that, sorry, I'm getting dry. I thought that with these two bigger projects and what I already have on the needles, that I wasn't going to cast on anything else except for a little kind of TV project. When I say TV project, it means I can actually, sit and watch TV while I'm doing it, and it's just going to be a simple knit that I can't hopefully screw up while I'm sitting watching TV with my husband. So it is, hockey playoff time, and I am Canadian, and my team is in the playoffs and doing quite well. I'm a big Pittsburgh Penguin fan, which I know is technically not a Canadian team, but Sidney Crosby is from the hood here, and I'm also a huge Mario Lemieux fan. So the Penguins are my team. So anyway, this I was going to cast on last week, but I decided not to because I really wanted to make some progress on what I had. So here is, I meant to print this off in color again and totally forgot. It's from Church Mouse Yarns, and it takes, I think it was like a DK weight. Yeah, DK weight. So I kind of looked around in my stash to see what I thought would look really good, because what it does, it's kind of, I don't know if you can tell from the black and white, but they have like this color, the first and last color are the same, and then it's got a middle contrasting color. So I've had this yarn for a couple of years now, and it's not quite DK, but it's a little more than fingering. Like, well, is it more than fingering? 50 grams. I'm doing math in my head. Hang on, that hurts. Anyway, where's the label? These are two Telluride, and I just got those. I think I got those when I was in Mahone Bay a couple years ago. They are super soft. They've got like, see if I can get it up close. You can kind of see there's like different contrasting colors. Like there's little flecks of white, and I think there's little, I don't know if you can see it here, but you can kind of maybe little tiny flecks of black, not a whole lot. And then the gray is got little flecks of black in it as well. And it also has little flecks of tan. It's almost like this might even be a tweed, really. But that's what I'm going to use. So I have a small head. You know, it's not, so usually when I do knit a hat, I have to do the small size. So I was kind of looking at it. It's a slouchy hat, so if it's a little, you know, big, it's okay. But what I'm going to do instead of just, this has got like a roll band on it, I'm going to do some ribbing, probably just like an inch and a half ribbing. And then hopefully if it's, you know, if it's a little loose or if it's a little tight, it will give it some stretch. And I may throw in a few extra stitches once I kind of look at the pattern, get it on the needles, and get a sense of what it is. So that's that I'm hoping to cast on this week, because I can actually kind of do that while John's dad is visiting and actually carry on a conversation at the same time. So I figured that's a good one for the queue. So the other one that's in the queue is, of course, the pavement sweater. And I'm going between this one, the lichen and lace lichen colorway, which again looks a little washed out here, but it's actually a very nice green color. And so I'm either going to cast on this one or I'm going to cast on the Tin Can Flax Light one, which is over there. So I'm not sure which. This one, there's something on the collar that totally sort of threw me. You have to start with short rows, which is fine. But then it's saying wrap the yarn when you get to the end of the row. And I'm really not sure what they mean by that. So I've got to figure that out before I get too far with that. So actually before I start, I may just like do a little tester run and see if I'm doing it right, but I'll have to go with that. But the other one that I'm really excited about that I'm going to start is the Joji. That's kind of light print, so I don't know if it's going to show up, but it's the Joji Starting Point Mystery Wrap. So I have never tried a mystery knit along, and I'm really excited. So this is going to be a wrap. It's got a lot of garter stitch and also some lace. So it's going to be perfect kind of TV knitting when I'm doing the garter stitch. It's actually a fairly good size. It takes 5 skeins of yarn and you'll use most of the skein in it. So this is actually going to replace the Find Your Fade for me. Just because I just think the Find Your Fade is going to be too big on me, and I don't want to put all of that work and, you know, the cost of the yarn into the Find Your Fade and then not wear it. I'm going to do this instead. I think this is a little more up my alley, and I'm not totally ruling out doing the Find Your Fade shawl maybe sometime in the future, but not right now. So this is basically, it starts, if you go onto Ravelry and you just do a search on the Joji Starting Point Mystery Cal, it'll pop up. It hasn't started yet. It starts on May 12th, and to sign up you just buy the pattern. The pattern, if you buy it now, is to do for the cal is $4, and when the cal is done, I think it goes up to $5 US. So what happens is we get a new clue every week, I think. Yeah, it'd be every week. I don't know if I'm going to get each clue knit before the next one arrives. I'm not a super fast knitter. I'm not slow. I think I'm just kind of middle of the road. But I don't always have like a lot of time. So I may be a little behind on completing it, but I just love the idea of knitting something and not know how it's going to turn out, which in a way is how it is whenever I knit something, but I don't even have a clue of what it's going to look like. So what I'm actually going to do is if I'm not close to finishing the first clue and the second one comes in, I'm not going to look at it, and I'm going to try to avoid seeing what other people are doing, just so it doesn't ruin the surprise for me. But I am going to try each time to at least get it as close to finish. If I can get close to finish, I'm not too worried about it. And hopefully with the loaded garter stitch, I'll be able to do that. So anyways, it's going to be a fairly good size. It's going to be 26.5 by 72 inches. So I think this is going to be a really good one for me to take to the office. Either this one or the Simple Lines ones, because my office is like working in a meat locker, even in the summertime. It's cold. So I don't know. Joji kind of showed what yarn she used, but she also said, you know, you don't have to go, she used like kind of 4 solids and then speckled. And she was like, you know, you don't have to follow what she did. You can do all speckled. You can mix it up, 3 speckled, 2, you know, just whatever you want. So I think what I might do, given that, is I may end up using, now I only need 5. Sorry. So I may use some of the lichen and lace that I got for the Find Your Fade. So that might be what I end up doing for the yarn, but I don't know yet. I'm going to kind of go through my stash, which is, you know, a little embarrassingly large, and see which colors kind of mesh well together, and then I'll decide. Once I get that, I'll probably put it up on Instagram, and then I'll do a little thing next episode. And that is what's in the queue. So in the total random section of the podcast, let's see what's new. I have finished my book revisions. So I mentioned earlier I write historical romance set in, I have some westerns out with Harlequin, but the ones that I've been concentrating on are set in Regency, England. So it's a 9-book series, and this was the 9th book I just finished. And that was going to be it. It was a long haul, and I want to switch things up and work on a general fiction book that I'm really excited about. But the problem is that I left this one secondary character with some really egregious family issues, and the story is sitting there percolating in my head. So my 9-book series is going to be a 10-book series. And then that's it. That's it. I am cutting myself off. But I'm not writing that one with a deadline, because I promised myself I would give myself no writing deadlines once the 9th book was done. And I would take a year and work on whatever I wanted to, which is going to be the general fiction book. But I may also pick away at the 10th book so that I can get that done as well, which I'm excited about. I'm excited about writing without a deadline, because the last 4 years at least have been nothing but one deadline after another deadline after another deadline. So anyway, the revisions are done. So now it's just the easy part, the copy edits and the final read through, and then it's gone. It's out. So that's new. Yesterday, my husband's birthday is today. Yesterday, we took a road trip to Lunenburg. We thought we were going to get rained out, so we went to the Halifax Seaport Farmers Market first. And then we realized the weather was getting better. It was supposed to rain. So we thought we will go to Lunenburg. And we drove up there, and I have a little video log, and I attached it to, take one of my podcast for episode 4. And I don't know if that was the issue, why it wouldn't upload. So I'm not going to attach it to this one, but I will do it as a little separate travel vlog and add it in. And I did get a little bit of a haul from that, which I posted on Instagram, and there's a little clip at the end. So I was going to put that in acquisitions, but it really wasn't part of the acquisitions in the original podcast, so I didn't. Yeah, so there were from yesterday, which I didn't really count because I thought the podcast was done, and turns out no, it wasn't. Anyway, so we went to Lunenburg. We had a great time. Then we went out to dinner at just a local pub restaurant because we were both feeling tired. He's got a bit of a cold, so he was feeling a little run down. We were originally going to go out to dinner, but we decided just to stay local. And then I think that's about it. My father-in-law, like I said, is going to be coming down. He's in Toronto, or just outside of Toronto, so he's going to be flying down and staying with us from, I think he arrives Thursday, and then he'll stay until about Tuesday. So hopefully I'll still get some knitting and some dyeing done, but it's going to probably not as much as I'd like. And I think that's about it. Work's been really crazy. The day job, it's just quarter end, so that's just crazy. And other than that, I think that's pretty much all that's going on. And so I'm going to wrap it up here because I'm going to have to edit this. I'm hoping to get that done today. Yeah, so I'll hopefully get this up to you. So it'll be up this is Sunday right now, Sunday, April 30th. And I'll be back in 2 weeks' time, hopefully with some progress on the knitting, and then I'll give you a little closer view of the acquisitions from Lunenburg, because I did get some fun stuff. And that's about it. So again, hope you enjoyed. Sorry if this felt rushed. I'm trying to get it done before my husband gets back. He took his son out for breakfast. And then I'll get this fired up, get this going, be back in 2 weeks. So thank you so much for joining me. And if you're a new viewer, I hope you'll come back. If you're a returning viewer, again, thanks for showing up. Subscribe if you want to know when the new podcast is coming out as well. I also I do vlogs on occasion, just like little quickie flicks. So if you subscribe, you'll get notified when those are all up on the channel. And that's it. So I'm going to shut up because I feel like I'm babbling right now and let you guys go. Again, thanks for showing up, and I hope to see you next time. Happy knitting.